Hello.
All right.
Welcome. You guys have both been on the podcast before, but the first time a father and son duo. So this is James and Tony Rudolph from Lake Oconee, Georgia.
Yeah,
Welcome back to the show.
Is this the first time we've both been on together, you're saying?
Yeah.
On my podcast together.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I've ever had a father-son
Yeah.
on my show that I can remember out of 1,400 plus episodes.
Wow. Come on now. Last year I remember being here. It was the first time I really connected with you was a year ago. Mm-hmm. And so we're back here, back in Atlanta. It's great to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you could make it. I texted Tony, and
Yeah.
he's like, new number, who this? Or something. This is Paul.
Well, you got a different number. That's not my fault.
Yeah, but who else? Oh, anyway.
Yeah, right.
How many people you know
You
are
got a Florida
podcasting
number.
at this event? What's that?
Because you got a new Florida number.
Yeah, I figured you connect the dots, but
I don't know where 941 or whatever it is.
did
I
you
don't
want
know
to tell
where it
everyone
is.
my number is?
Nah, it's just the area code. They ain't going to find that.
Southwest Florida.
Yeah. Great. But it is good. We gone down there and vacation some. It's
Siesta
really
Key?
beautiful down there. We really love it there. And I'd like to be there now.
Yep.
But I'm glad I'm here. I mean, this is a perfect place to be today.
Yeah, today.
Yeah, today. So we just had some snow. We had 3 inches of snow in Atlanta, and that are out there in Eatonton. It really was fun. I took the day off from lawn care and my business. I put my business on hold and stopped the world and got off. And because my wife, she got so excited about the snow, and so because we don't see it often, and we just had a great time. We really had fun and sat by the wood stove and cooked on the wood stove and just had fun. We had a great time.
Now, is the real estate there just keep Eatonton, Lake Oconee, Reynolds? Does that just keep going up, and up, or what?
Yeah, it keeps going up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Place to be, huh?
It is. There's a lot of building now. It's exponentially been growing since the last couple of years. We've been talking about it, and it's really, unfortunately, I think it may just get to where, like Alpharetta or other parts of Atlanta, where you're sitting in traffic everywhere you go. It's getting really, really.
They're
built
widening
up.
The roads and everything. Yeah.
It's getting built up pretty. They're aggressive with it now. It's caught on. So
Yeah. Well, what year did you move the Buckhead of not Buckhead by downtown, but there's a Buckhead out and by Eatonton.
Yeah, I'm right next to Tony. I'm a mile and a half away from Tony's house.
3.5 miles, technically, but.
Am I that far?
Yeah.
Tony, really?
It's a long way on the bike.
All right. Seems like a minute. Yeah. But we're close. Me and him are close by, and still pretty there. It's nice, obviously, but a lot of going on. This year, I think we're going to maybe have the best year ever because we've got everybody coming. Everybody's here. From coronavirus, really, everyone started leaving the left coast and leaving New York and all that coming down, and our area is just blowing up. So, and I know Florida's got a lot going on down there.
Oh man, it's so awesome down there that I'm hesitant to talk about it because I don't want everyone moving down there.
Oh, yeah, Send them up to my hat.
Yeah,
my
if you
yard.
guys are looking for a place to go,
Yeah.
Eatonton, Georgia is
Wow.
a wonderful place. But Southwest Florida is it's sunny
Yes.
almost every day.
Yes.
So yesterday, the day before I came up here, actually I think it was 64. The day before that I went golfing. It was 77.
Oh.
So
great.
a rough winter day, 77.
Love it.
65 yesterday. I was looking at Saturday. If I go golfing, it'll be 74 degrees, which is just pleasant.
That's amazing.
Middle of the winter.
No, it's amazing. It's
And
beautiful.
it's sunny. I love it.
Yeah, it really is wonderful down there this time. But yeah, and Georgia's great. The winter in Georgia is really nice. I'm from upstate New York, so I'm real appreciative of a winter day in Georgia. Sun shining, it can be 50 degrees, and I just love it, compared to where I'm from. So all those guys on your podcast that you've talked to and all the guys up in the Northeast and even Canada and all that, my hat's off to them. There's some real rugged men up there. I mean, that'll make a man out of you.
And we look at our audience. It shows you where on the thing that we do the podcast on, it shows you where people are, what states.
Yes.
It's mainly up north, Midwest, Canada. It's a lot. That's why I'm just kind of being sarcastic because
yeah, and
most
Paul,
guys
these are men. These are real men, all them up there. People comment about Northerners, and it'll make a man out of you. That just the climate, dealing with equipment when it's zero. Your equipment doesn't behave the same when it's zero or when it's 10 below zero. everything changes. You know what I mean? You don't stop and talk to your neighbor when it's, when there's a wind chill of 30 below zero. You don't. Those men are men up there, and they're dealing with it. And my hat's off to them. And my dad's still up there, and I did lawn care in the north, and I earned it. And the time I was there, I was really glad to get out of there. It really was. I was grateful that this time of year I still out blowing leaves. Like this week, I'll be blowing leaves and loving it. You know what I mean? And in the sunshine. So, yeah, it's good stuff. So, yeah, and I'm just glad you are talking to those guys up north because they are great men and great people up there.
Yeah, well, they're listening, hopefully.
Yeah, great.
We just talked down here in Georgia and Florida, and folks listen from all over.
Yes.
Tony, you came on the big stage at Equip.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of
let's
fun.
debrief a little bit. I know in the John Deere booth we talked a little bit about it, but now that you've had more time to listen to it, I hope.
Yeah, I listened
Did you
to it.
listen
Yeah,
to it?
Of course.
What'd you think about your performance at Equip?
It was pretty good, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I was spectacular or anything, but I feel like I tried to answer the questions pretty well.
Yeah, I was trying to warn you. It's going to go like rapid.
Yeah,
it just flies by.
It did. That was fast paced. Popcorn. It was good. It was a good
Well,
day.
it's whatever it is, 25 minutes plus some questions inside of there too. So it's really fast, but it was great. It was a great time. I enjoyed the morning show just attending it every time, and so to be able to be a part of it, I mean, that was a super blessing for me. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, Naylor and Evan said you thanked them, so thank you for being grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're great guys. I know Naylor and talked to Evan some after that, and that was great. He's a cool guy. Yeah, completely different type of guy than us long guys, but it's cool to talk to someone that's kind of managing those kind of things, and it was great. He was super kind to me, and everyone from Equip is awesome. I mean, I really like the folks, just the organization. Like everyone that I've talked to from there is really good, top notch, and even Evan, who's like, hey, when it's making rounds, even on my small podcast, he's like, hey, can we have Chris Kaiser come on there? I'm like, yeah, sure.
You interviewed Chris?
No, he's coming up. Coming up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like on the schedule to do that. Like when he gets closer to the Equip,
Yeah.
And I was like, he asked me if I'd be willing to do that. I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah, so that'll be cool. And just everyone there is super cool. Super nice people.
Yeah, be on top of your game with Chris. He's very punctual. He's very I don't know if you ever listen to my podcast. We're like, all right, well, have a nice day, Chris. And then it's like click. He like hangs up, and it's like that wasn't like on the episodes. Like he just hangs up and he moves on with his day. So he's a very punctual person.
And what's cool about him is he's the president of OPI. So he's representing all the brands that we can think of, kind of to the government. So he's kind of bridging. So he's proposing, hey, this stuff is good. This industry that we're doing is good. There's so he's kind of like the middleman that like talks to these people about that. And he represents all the outdoor power equipment like industry as a whole. Like he represents it to the government, and he also owns the Equip, or he's part of the organization.
Great.
So
Yeah,
it's really cool.
I would say that by far. Well, I'd just say he's the most influential person in our industry because. So, like, on the board of the OPEI would be the CEO of Toro. I haven't checked the website recently, but last time I checked, Rick Olson, who's the CEO of Toro, he's on the board for the OPEI. And then the top dogs from, different companies like Kohler, which is now called Relco, and companies like that. I think there's 12 of them or so. And then Chris is like their quarterback.
Representative.
Yep. But so at his meetings, it's literally the CEO of Toro, the president of Kohler. I mean, it's all the top guys from the biggest companies in our industry, and then Chris is the ultimate decision maker. So,
it's really cool, and that's something I never thought of my whole life. We just go down to dealer, buy equipment, but like there's someone that's proposing to like make this stuff be legal and be sold. Like it's cool, and he's kind of like goes to bat for all the companies, for the engines, for everything. So
yeah, and it's
really neat.
A wonderful job, if you're listening, Evan. A wonderful job since they've taken over Equip. And the guys that ran it before, Warren Sellers, he did a wonderful job too. I've always enjoyed Equip. But once the OPEI took over full control of the Equip,
that's when the name change happened, right?
Yeah, that's when it went from GIE to Equip. but they came to Naylor and myself and basically said, hey, what do you guys want from us? What do you want from us? Because they know that we're promoting the show and stuff, and they're wanting to be on your podcast. Like it's just so cool. Like they couldn't be any more supportive of what we're doing, and I love it.
All right, who got the free parking?
Chris Kaiser.
Yeah,
he did it.
That year, the first year I came, there was parking, and I thought,
every time you come and go, every time.
Yeah,
it wasn't
thinking,
like one day.
Now I see where they're making a few bucks on us, and you always feel exploited in the parking lot when you go to some of these places. But that year when they waived that, it was just like a welcome. You just felt welcome there.
Yeah.
So if you haven't been yet, you'll feel welcome. It's really real. They've done their homework. I mean, right out of the gate, you start feeling good about being there.
Well, and the Kentucky Exposition Center is still getting paid. It's just
understood.
The show pays them a flat rate.
He negotiated
understood.
But it's a lot of money.
But it's free for us. Yeah,
understood.
I think it was like 70 or 170,000 or something like that. It's a big number they have to pay. That the Quip also forks that out, for everyone. Because that was one of the complaints that they had.
Our camera changed here. Now we're picking up Dr. Frank. How did that happen?
I don't know.
You can keep talking. By the way, guys, we're hopefully going to have this episode on YouTube. That looks a little bit better. Let's see here. I'm trying to film these and put them on YouTube.
This is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So.
Yeah.
All right. We're making the most of it.
I think just the little gimbal, maybe it moved or changed.
Well,
motorized gimbal.
I'm a big promoter of the Equip too, and I just don't think anyone would have a negative if they came. And I guess the negative is getting there, because some of you people are going to drive a long way. And but
I'm sorry, I'm stumbling and fumbling here at the camera. We paid this guy over here to film it, and he's
at lunch.
He's over there.
Oh, man, you can't find good help. You know what I mean?
Oh man, literally, paying that guy $750. Where I'm sitting here doing it. Oh man.
Anyway, back to Quip. Yeah, I think it's worth your. Yeah. Anyone should come for $12.50.
Yeah, Mr. Producer said I should have hired him. He would have got us footage. Oh man, they can't see, but we're trying to duct tape our video over here while he's over there. Anyway.
Yeah. Good.
Sorry.
Anyway, I do like plugging the Equip, because it's kind of you can tell your customer, it shows your customer that you're more of a professional. There's no negatives. You can write it off your taxes, really, and when you're there, you really feel like you're part of something. You're connected to something, and it's didn't see that coming when I went. I didn't think that all that was going to be kind of a built-in, I guess, sense of what goes on there. I really like seeing the equipment and some of the new stuff. I mean, everything from your gear that you're wearing, like headgear if you're in the tree business, you name it, they got it. I mean, shoes, let's say landscape shoes. I mean, they're just, everyone who makes anything is there, and I like that. I mean, Tony even says you got to write down what you want to see, because there'll be it will be not enough time to see everything. So get the things that you've written down. It's good. It's a great thing. You guys need to make the trip. And not only that, you get to see Paul, you get to see people, and I think that's a great thing too.
And I think the expo is, it's just like a lot of things in life. Whatever you put into it, is what you get out of it. So if you just make an effort to talk to people in line, if you're standing in line for your ticket or whatever, and I met some of the coolest people doing that. Even this last year, just talked to some random guy that was some dealer, and it was really cool. If you just put yourself out there a little bit, it's unlimited the connections that you can make. Through the expo is really why I have all these connections, like with this stuff that we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think anyone out there listening, if you've never been before, if you're serious about this business, then you should come to the expo. I mean, that's kind of it.
Yeah, and it'll pay for itself. It will. We're all business people, so you wouldn't do something if you didn't know why you would do it. So this will pay for itself. Your customers, and not only that, one of the things I've never liked about my industry and this industry is a lot of times the way the world looks at a landscaper. I don't like that. They see, oh, this guy's the laborer. This guy's like, When you hear men say, professional men say, well, when I was in college, I used to cut grass, and so it's kind of got this low status junk. I'd never liked that. And this flies right in the face of that. You go to your expo, you get around the bigger picture, you walk with your chest out a little bit. People see money when they look at you, but you got to invest in you. You can't just do that. Doesn't just happen. You got to put money into yourself. Get the bigger picture. And so when they see the guy out in the yard, he's not just the guy cutting the grass. Mm-hmm. He's someone who's competent. He's someone who's sharp. He's someone that this customer can't just go find another guy. Because he's not you. You're the guy, and a little job security in there. So I think the expo has a lot to offer there. I know we'll plug that. I'm glad we plugged it, and I don't think we'd know you if all that didn't go down. And
use promo code Paul for 50% off, or promo code Tony.
Oh, you got a promo code now. There you go.
Listen, he's moving on up.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah. That's great.
They called me, asked if I wanted one, so I'm like, sure.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Use that promo code.
And you can plug that on your YouTube channel and stuff, because what's crazy is, and it's not a huge amount, but a lot of people will pay full price. They just don't know. My first year, I paid full price.
Right.
Literally, I didn't capitalize on early bird. I didn't use, Naylor had a promo code back then, so I just showed up and I paid the full amount.
And it's like $100 if you just walk up and do
More
it.
now. I think it's 120.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So for $12.50 right now, you can get it, with promo code Paul. That's a great deal.
That's a lot of your gas, a lot of your expense to get here. You're going to save some money right there. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, you shared at Equip that you're debt free and you're, living the dream with that. Paid off your house. How's it been now? A little over a year it's been since you've paid off the mortgage, or what?
Yeah, it's good. I gotta keep striving and keep things out in front of me. We want to buy a new minivan this year, so I gotta make sure I keep saving and accomplishing things. So I don't be lazy or complacent or whatever you want to call it, because that is something that you have to deal with. Because I don't really it doesn't cost a lot to run my life, right now, I guess, compared to some households, but. I feel like
you don't have a mortgage, which is rare.
Yeah, but it's just life is still expensive in general. I feel like my grocery bill, for my family, is just expensive. But anyway, yeah. So still continuing to strive, and it definitely does. It changes the way I run my business, changes the posture I have, and it definitely has increased my mental comfort every day. I don't as I go about running my business. I feel completely different, than I felt years ago. Because I know that, it doesn't take a lot to run my business. So, if a customer, if he wants to get all bent out of shape about something, I have no problem with just say, hey, maybe this isn't going to work out. It's fine. I'm fine with that. If it ain't good for you, then if it ain't good for me, it's fine. I don't need their yard.
That's beautiful.
So, and that's a good way. And I've actually found that I seem to sell more when I have that type of mental foundation, stability, whatever. It seems easier for me to sell jobs nowadays than it was.
It really
for
is.
More price. It's. I feel like customers can sense the desperation. They can sense that.
They can.
Yeah. They say, and they say that my other son said this, that once you're married, then girls start paying attention to you. Because you're not looking so hard. You know what I'm saying? And I think there's something to what he's saying there. Is you don't necessarily. There's something about desperation. There's something about the making of something happening. And people, when it comes to people's money and their treasure, they kind of get a little weird with that. It's much better in the posture of kind of let's do business like this versus, hey, let me grab your wallet. You know what I mean? And
there's
something to that. There's something.
Well, the
to
psychology is the customer needs their property maintenance or something installed or whatever. And if you have this attitude, well, yeah, I could do that, but I don't have to. If you say yes or no, it's not going to affect our world.
Right.
They can sense that.
Yes.
And then they're probably going to say yes versus the guy is like, I got to get this job because I got to pay this bill. Oh, yeah. And they can sense that.
They can. And I wouldn't buy a car from someone who has that anxiousness. I wouldn't buy a car from someone like that. But if the guy, I had a great realtor that sold me the last 2-3 houses I had, and he would hand me the keys and go sit in his car. You know what I mean? And I love that because he could take it or leave it. And I like when I'm buying something to have that posture. And I think Tony, you're talking about it right there. And it's important. It's important that we somehow get there. And I think you can get there without having your mortgage paid off.
Yeah.
But I think it is an element to that. Don't get upside down. A lot of people go get in business and just go spend tons of money on equipment and all the shiny stuff. That's gonna, the Bible says that the borrower is slave to the lender, and you got to be careful with that because now you kind of got that in the back of your mind, and it's kind of pressing you. You got a fire behind you versus a carrot in front of you, and that's tough. That's a tough way to do it, and we've all done it. I've done that wrong. I've done everything wrong that I say. If I've ever said something, I'm not condescending or negative. I'm saying it because I've done it. I've done that stuff, and thank God I don't have bills either. Thank God. That's
Your mortgage is paid off?
Oh yeah, I got it before he did. I knew he was going to do it. My kid was going to get me, so I said, no, I'm going to do it. I got it just before he did.
Congratulations.
Yeah, he kind of put the fire under me. Tony did. I knew he was headed in that direction, and that's success begats success. Tony was kind of just being around him with that focus. I thought, that's the right thing, and he inspired me to get in on the board. And so I paid off my house, and my house has a guest house with it too. So I'm really grateful. And I got 5 acres and got a little gentleman farm, so we can bring all the limbs over there and put them in a pile and burn them. And
do you have debt elsewhere, or
no,
you're debt free? So
I am debt free. This year, I just bought. It just signed for a Kubota tractor against my taxes at 0%. Okay, but I have everything paid for other than that, and I just did that so my taxes wouldn't go upside down. But 0%, and
so you do have debt.
I have that Kubota tractor.
Okay.
This year I just got it. Yeah,
right.
and I own several pieces of equipment. I own another Kubota. I own a lot of stuff, but this is the only thing I put 0% on.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's. The price of that it's a B class. It was $24,000.
Okay.
And so I'm paying somewhere around $300 a month.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I owe. Other than that, I don't owe anything. And I wasn't going to do that, but it was either that or pay the tax guy.
Not necessarily. What do you mean by that?
Well, because I don't really understand a lot of the 401k stuff and all that, I'm not in on all that. I did real well last year. I made some really good money, okay? And they have a tax law this past year that when you buy a piece of equipment, you can take the whole value of that piece of equipment and go against your taxes.
Yeah.
So I can write off the whole $24,000 on my taxes this past year. And that they did that to inspire people to spend the money, okay? So that's out there. And that's why I did it. Didn't have to. I have the same kind of tractor. I just didn't want to pay the extra tax. And I could have done other things, but I'm not smart enough to know. Tony was starting to tell me about some of the 401k stuff that can go against your taxes.
Now, I want to recommend someone to you that I personally use. And this is all for entertainment purposes only. So I'm not no tax.
Yeah, 10-4. Me either. I'm
this
no
isn't a tax advisor legal show. This is
come on,
3 rednecks talking tractors and taxes.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I will recommend who I personally use. Her name's Sheila. She lives in Charleston, South Carolina, and her specialty is tax planning, tax preparation, and things of that nature. Because the math is, I don't want to get into math because it's gonna.
Let's do that at another time, though.
Yeah,
let's do that.
But she could help you understand. You say I don't understand the tax implications of having a solo 401k, a SEP IRA, a Roth IRA, a traditional IRA. I used to be intimidated by all that, but now I feel like, okay,
10-4.
This is the
I
best
definitely
path.
need to sit down with somebody on that. I knew that last year. I knew that real strong because I knew I had a good year. So I definitely need that going forward. So that so it's just ignorance. So I don't have to do it the old-fashioned way. And that's what I'm.
But at the end of the day, when there's profit in the business, you have to pay taxes on it.
Right.
And you don't want to get too cute.
Understood. It's it's something to certainly that people make a career out of. Sheila makes a career out of.
Yeah, she's very good.
I'm not
Sheila
going to beat
Chaplin.
myself up. It's why she has the career, because a
Yeah.
lot of people don't know about it.
Yeah.
So that's her expertise, and I'd be happy to talk to her, and I need to. This is the year I want to start laying out more of a pension plan of some sort. You know what I mean? Because I have everything paid for, but I don't have that really laid out the way I want it.
How's your retirement coming along? Did you put your 7K in for 2025 yet, or
Yeah, I mean, it comes out automatically like every
just a
month.
$583 or
Yeah, so like one for me, one for Emily. So
Yep.
it's right around that. I mean,
Per
yes,
person.
per year. Yeah, but it's not like it doesn't. It's not 7K.
you don't
all
do
at
it. You don't
once.
do it in January.
No, it just pulls
spread
it out. It automatically drafts it.
But you
yeah.
do 7,000 divided by 12 months, and that's what.
Right.
So you're
Per
maxing it
person.
out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think I might be like $50 shy or something of how
Right.
the
but
audit draft, but it's
7,000.
close.
There's
yes.
a limit for the Roth IRA
Uh-huh.
of 7,000
Yeah.
per
yeah.
person. So you have a wife.
Right.
So
yeah.
you
So
can
it's
each do it.
Yeah. So it's 13,000 some, 14,000 max. That
Okay.
goes in per year. Yep.
And then once you have it in your Roth IRA, where do you invest it from
Well,
there?
it's in the mutual funds.
Okay.
So I use a Dave Ramsey, advisor that I have had for maybe 5 or 6 or 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little longer. Nah, I don't know. When I first started, sometime working the journey, I had met him. He was a guy. He lives over in Alpharetta or something, and he also is like debt-free mortgage and everything. So he really immediately I like the guy. And he lives over in Alpharetta or somewhere. So I went on and looked for one when we were getting to the point, like house wasn't paid off, but like in the part of the steps where you start investing. So I looked him up and, I type in that I want one on the Ramsey website. Within like 2 minutes, my phone was ringing and he was calling me,
Wow. That's great.
And so how that system kind of works is so all these people that are like certified in that, so like a inquiry will come in and it's kind of like whoever's the first to jump on it. I mean, all the people can call me, like maybe 5 people, but he was probably a little newer in the Dave part of it. So like he was, maybe slightly hungrier than the other people. So he was calling me, right away. And it's pretty cool because like now, like I told you, I kind of got grandfathered over. He kind of only does, big money, clients basically. But he wanted to keep me and Emily and a few others. So like we kind of moved over into his new program basically. So he's not even doing it that same type of way anymore. Like it's actively managed now. So I pay a few dollars more for that, but I'm gaining a lot more, with it being actively managed. So that's a cool thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the balance up to now with the?
Ooh, I don't think I've checked since the expo. I probably should.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't like look at it every
Really?
day or anything.
I look every single morning.
Oh, you do?
Every morning. I look at every single bank account every single morning. Well, pardon me. If I'm traveling, like it's something like this, I don't. But when I'm at home, I get a cup of coffee and I sit down and I have a spreadsheet and I update. This bank account has this amount. This bank account has this amount. This bank account. I check every single morning.
Yeah.
I want to know what I got so I don't get got.
Right.
So I
right.
don't, have some random subscription slip through or.
Yeah. And
I
that's,
look every day.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Interesting.
And that is something that
I'm not saying that's the right way to do it.
No,
I
I think it's
couldn't
great.
imagine not checking my investment portfolio since October. I can't even compute that.
Well, so our bank accounts, that is something that Emily helps me with. So I've actually taken on the billing now with my CRM. But I think it's like once a week, Emily goes down, checks every transaction in the bank. Even yesterday, she texted me, she's like, what is this charge right here? And it was for like $400 and some, and she didn't know what it was at first. And even I had to really look, and I'm like, oh, well, that is one of our rooms for the expo. But so it's great. Like she's like wondering, what's this charge? What's this about? So that is a great thing nowadays with online banking. I mean, it's easy to just look through and see all your charges, and you went to BP for $34 gas. It shows everything on there. And it's not like the old days where you couldn't really keep up with it. I mean, now you can really easily just have all your transactions there, in, out, current balance, all that. So yeah, so she checks online on our People's Bank thing pretty regularly. But the slips, they come in the mail, the paper slip, like our investment from LPL Financial or whatever it is. And so I look at them periodically, but probably not as much as I should.
Yeah.
Probably like quarterly or something. Maybe a little more than that, but I don't know. I'm not going to do anything with it till I'm 65 anyway.
Right,
so,
right. No,
I'm not really worried about it.
I understand. It's just I just like looking at it.
Oh, yeah, we need to keep up with it, and I probably should check on it a little more just because. Well, but I mean, the thing is, it's going to go up and down, and it goes up gradually up, but it goes down and up and down and up. It goes like this, So that's just kind of how it works over the last hundreds of years since we've had that,
All right, let me ask you about that.
Shares.
Are you concerned about it going?
No. I just proverb of the day here: know well the condition of your flocks. Is in the Proverbs.
That's right.
We don't. Well, you might have more animals than me because I live.
I got it.
You got animals.
And that was money. Your flocks was really your money.
Right.
Yeah.
So the wisdom is you should know. And I'm not picking on you, Tony.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you should know how your things are. How your bank accounts are. I could tell you.
Yeah.
In this business checking account, I have this amount. This business savings account for my taxes, I have this amount. In my personal checking for my everyday life, I have this amount. My investment portfolio, I have this amount. And I have some other things. And I know, within a few dollars, what they all are. Because every single day, I created a spreadsheet. So I wrote down all my accounts. And then every morning, I update what the balance is. And then I have my net worth tracker. And I set milestones for where I want my net worth at, and it just keeps me motivated.
I do look at the every dollar budget.
Okay.
I do look at my budget kind of every day, like on the business side, because it's kind of annoying. We have to log in and because we have like a personal one, like every dollar Dave Ramsey budget, and then a business one. So I got to like log back out, and equipment, this and that will be over on this one, and personal stuff's over on this one anyway. So we do kind of keep tabs on that. And like I said, Emily goes through the bank account all the time, but my investments, that's not something that I check all the time, but again, I probably should, but it's pretty cool because it's not in my advisor's hands. He's just a representative for this other, big LPL Financial. It's a huge operation. And so I don't know, I guess I'm not that worried about it, but yeah, I think checking it every day could be good, and I probably need to check. I would say
I'm not suggesting that. I was just suggesting maybe more frequently than you did one time in October.
Yeah, I would say probably once a month or something for investments would be a good, just to see. I don't know. You're going to see it go down a little bit and up a little bit, but that would be a good. I would say that's probably a good.
All right. So in World War II days, people were jumping out of windows because it crashed. Okay, are you concerned about any of that?
No. I'll tell you why I'm not. In the Bible, it says if you give to the poor, you lend to the Lord, and in times of trouble, He will. There's different translations, but He will repay you, or He'll have your back. I try to give to the poor as frequently as I can.
Okay.
And I used to struggle with this because let's say I give a homeless guy $5, $20, $30. And then he goes in the liquor store and he comes out with a brown bag and acts like he never even knew me. Anyway.
Yes.
But God calculates it as I gave to the poor. It wasn't that I gave it to whoever.
That's right.
I gave to the poor.
Yeah.
So my confidence is if I just keep depositing, giving people money that are poor, and it's easy in Sarasota because if I walk out my apartment and I walk 1 mile, I'm going to see 4, 5, 6 homeless people. They just go there and they whatever. But because I'm giving to the poor, unless God's always been faithful to me my whole life. So my confidence in His word is that if I'm giving to the poor, He's going to protect me when the crash does happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen.
Yes.
Somehow He'll have my back. I'll be okay because I'm giving to the poor. So if I wasn't giving to the poor, I would probably worry about it.
Yeah.
But because I'm giving to the poor, I believe that God's going to back His word, and in times of trouble, He'll make sure that I'm provided for.
Yeah, and I believe that too. I believe He's going to do that. But it's not necessarily going to do it financially. Yes.
No, I think
He's going to do it because your attitude is going to be needed at that time. The attitude of a giver. If everything just crashes and $1 ain't worth $1, it ain't worth anything, the giver thrives. because of your attitude. It's greater to give than it is to receive, and it's the giver that is how you really touch the world. So you'll be touching the world at that time, like you are now, even now, by giving to the poor. Yeah, it's those people that are the opposite. Is this how you know you can check your math? Just do the opposite. Don't think of anyone that's down and out. Just think of yourself. And you realize, wait, there's something not right about that. There's something not good, and it won't help you. If you're very self-centered, you're not going to be in a good place when nobody cares about anybody. They won't care about you because you've been so selfish. You reap what you sow, right? So you sow selfishness, it's not going to look good. So I agree with all that. I trust in God to do all that. I mean, it surprised me though. I didn't think you were going to say that. I think it's excellent that you said it.
Yeah.
It's a part of you I didn't see, but because I don't know you that well. But I mean, that's on the money. Money's talked about more in the Bible than any other topic. Yeah, and it's just you're right about it. But one of the reasons I don't play the stock and all that is because for the same reason, God owns it all, and I don't get too involved in it. I don't get overly involved. I'm a businessman, but I don't get overly involved in it because money becomes like a vacuum. It becomes like an obsession. It's a demand that it can keep more and more. So it's like there's no end to it if you don't stop it. And that's something every man's got to figure out. How far do I reach to make money? And it's different for everybody. But my faith he has me work with what I got in my hands. Like whatever he's placed in my hands, I work with it. If I reach too much, my posture gets screwed up, and then I'm in trouble. But that's me. I don't preach about this. Money's one of those things. But it's a good indication of where you are, your money is. Very good topics.
What were you going to say, Tony? And then after you had something to say, I got a comment to bring. Oh, I'm bringing it.
Well, I think that
you pushed my button.
I
love it.
Like when stocks go way down and they're worth way less, well, then the money that I'm putting in, I buy way more shares, and then when it goes back up, that the snowball is twice as big. So like, I actually hope that between now and when I'm 65, I hope there's some major dips. I hope there's some major dips in the stock market in general, because then the money I'm putting, I'm buying those shares, and it's like buying real estate, it's like buying a gym during COVID. It's like you're buying it, at quarter of the price, and then when it comes back, you have all the money. Yeah. So ever since the beginning of the stock market, it wasn't really even World War II, people would categorize as a crash, but we still have a stock market now, right? Like it just dipped really low. It doesn't mean that all money went to zero. It was doing really bad. If you were to pull your money out right then, yeah, it would be doing bad. But in general, over the last hundreds of years, it just goes up and up and up. Just like our economy, is a billions and billions and billions of dollars, economy that's built on itself, and that's just going to continue to go. I don't foresee, brick and mortar things are going to become, I feel like, less and less. There's going to be, we might see a time where you don't even go to a grocery store in real life, It's just like all online, you order. Like that's possible. But so it's going to change. I feel like the economy is going to change. But I don't see it slowing down, not anytime soon. In our whole lifetime and in our grandparents' lifetime, it's just gone up. It might have dips, but it just goes up, for the last, all the generations really, Bible times, stock probably wasn't that good. Stock prices probably weren't that great back then, but, it just climbs, continue then. So if I don't be scared, our money's going to keep building, because it is something that we got to think about, because when I'm 70, I'm not going to mow 8-9 yards a day. Like I can say I'm going to do that, but that's not reality, So, and that is one thing that we have to consider. If you're me and if you have a large business and you have other people doing all this stuff, well, that helps, when you're at that point. But if you're not going to do that, you have to figure out a way that, I want to get to a point where I don't have to mow 8 yards a day. If I want to do some, if I want to, be a foreman for a big company and ride around, disciple those guys, or if I want to do a few yards, whatever, I want to get to the point where I can work, but I don't have to work, and that's going to take a lot of time. That'll take another 30 some years to really get me to that point where I really want to get. But yeah, so that's my plan.
Yep, that's good. What I wanted to talk to you about, or talk with, I don't know.
Bring it.
So there's a story in the Bible that you're very familiar with.
Yes.
Where there's a master and he's got 3 servants.
Yes.
And he's going to go on a little road trip.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
This is the parable of the talents?
Yeah, but let me explain
Go
because
ahead.
somebody might
Yeah.
not know it. You
Sure.
guys had already know
Go
where
right
I'm
ahead.
going. So one guy, and you can correct me if I
Yes.
missed the numbers here, but
Yeah.
the master's got 3 servants. He leaves one of them with 1 talent,
Yes.
and then the second guy he gave 2 talents, and the third guy he gave 5 talents. So one guy gets 1, one guy gets 2, one guy gets 5, and the master says, I'm going to go and I'm going to come back and see how you did. So the guy with 1 took it and he buried it. And so when the master came back, he's like, all right, what'd you do with what I gave you? And he's like, oh, I still got it. I got good news. I got it. I buried it. Let me go get it.
Yeah.
And he thought he did a good job because he still had it. He didn't
Yeah.
lose it.
Yeah.
He didn't squander it, but he just buried it.
Yes.
So the master said, he called him wicked.
Yeah. Well, in that story, he says, I was afraid that you were a bad...
A harsh master.
Harsh master.
Yeah.
He was afraid. Out of fear, he buries it. And that's a huge point. So, yeah, I'm tracking. This parable changed my life right here, and I get it.
Let me keep
going.
explaining because somebody may have never heard it.
Yes.
So the master called him wicked. It didn't
That's
say
right.
it didn't say, hey, you're kind of poor business. He said it's wicked.
Yeah, it's the only time God cusses in the Bible, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a cuss word. That's God cussing. That's
Yeah.
not a good thing.
Yeah.
And he's calling them wicked lazy. He used those
Wicked,
two words.
lazy, yeah.
Ooh, those are cuss words. Those are God's. Think of these. Think of this. Let's just stop the world for a minute. Get off. Who cares what Oprah says? This is what God Almighty. When he's using the word wicked, lazy is not a good thing. All of us men and women in America today, grab this. Don't be lazy, right? And the lazy. I mean, I know we all know what that means. We all relate to that in some way. But yeah, so this one has really put a fire under me. This parable, and so keep going.
Yeah, so the guy with 1 didn't do anything, and the master calls him lazy and wicked, and then he says, I'm going to throw you out in the outer darkness where there's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. I think that's,
That's right.
yeah.
You're on it.
Then the guy with
Yeah.
2, he multiplied, doubled.
Yeah.
He took his 2 and turned it into 4,
Yeah.
and the master said, well done, my good and faithful
All
servant.
right, let me stop you there. He takes the talent from the guy with 1 and gives it to the person with 3. He takes it from him and gives it over here to this guy. And haven't we all seen the people that you see? It seems like they keep getting more and more and more. Meanwhile, there's certain people just seem like they got nothing and nothing and nothing. It's like this relates, and I get it because people live out of fear and they live out of laziness. Laziness is a byproduct of fear. It's not that these people are bad. We know a lot of people that struggle with not being enthusiastic. It's because they're really fearful. They have to figure out what's killing them with their fear. But this parable, God's not buying, though. This is what God's not putting powder on the pee-pee right here. You know what I'm saying? I grew a couple of small boys. I raised my boys. You know what I mean?
Keep it PG for us. It's the Green Industry Podcast.
Yeah, this is PG.
All right.
But you know what I mean. God,
I don't know what you're...
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Okay.
Anyone who had a little brother or a baby around, God's not babying the guy with the fears. Like a lot of us think God's going to come comfort us in our fears. God doesn't do that. Come to find out, God's saying, "Hey, what are you doing? I never asked you to be afraid." He's not going, "Oh, come here, papa." Wait, a lot of people turn God into that, and God's not that. Not in this story. God shows up and goes, "What are you talking about? You didn't do something because you were afraid? What? Get out!" I mean, he starts cussing. I mean, this is off the chain, dude. This is not the Jesus we portray, not the master we portray a lot of times.
Yeah.
But it's the one we need to know because God doesn't want us to live in fear. He's that serious about it. And a lot of people don't do good in business because they pull back in fear. And I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of everything people do. But I've had to learn through these parables, like you're talking about, not to give in to that. Because God's not going to take comfort in my fears. He's going to say, "Jim, I never asked you to do that. Go ahead.
Well,
What
yeah.
else?
So number 5, then, with the guy with the 5 talents, he multiplied it as well, and he had 10 when the master came back, and he got the same compliment.
Yes.
Well done, my good and faithful servant. And so when I look at multiplication, and specifically talking about we're all business owners. Most of you listening or watching are business owners. So how do we take what we got? We got hopefully these 2 hands. We're all blessed. We have 2 legs, 2 hands, 2 feet, 2 arms, where our brains are intact, a sound mind. How do we multiply so we're not the one? Because my argument is we all got the 5 talents, at least us. We live in the United States of America in 2025 with technology. I mean, I don't know what that thing is, but show YouTube
hey,
your
come
phone.
on now. This is my flip phone.
Yeah. But I mean, I can email on here. I can text on here.
Yeah.
I can do all kind of things here, and you can do bad things on here.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
That's right.
But we're given
A computer.
opportunity.
Yeah.
And now we're giving a command to multiply.
Yes.
So we can't, a year from now, we can't be like, oh, yeah, well, I still got, everything's the same. It needs to be multiplying. And full circle of why I invest in the stock market is if I invest in the top 500 companies, which is the S&P 500, over time, those have grown. And
Yes.
it's a good chance to multiply. Now, I don't invest all my money into that. I don't put all my chips on the table, but I put a portion of it for it to multiply there. And that's why I make content on the internet, because it can, if we just talked, this is a good conversation. Like if we were just having breakfast and breakfast ended, you're like, yeah, I had breakfast with Paul and Tony. That was a good chat. But because of technology, someone can watch Tony's YouTube video, Tony's podcast, my YouTube video, my podcast, and it multiplies. There's going to be hundreds of people who are going to listen to this and be blessed by it.
Yes.
So how do you guys think we can make? Because you agree with me that we all got the 5.
Absolutely.
So how do we multiply?
That's a great question, and that's the beauty. Here's the cool thing about that question. We don't want to spoil it for everyone listening, because each one will get to do it in a creative, kaleidoscope ways, because God makes us different. I mean, I do things that if I rattle them off, I have a men's group on a Tuesday night. I buy their food. I roll the carpet out for them. I don't want no one to know about it. I didn't tell anyone about it till now. There's so many. There's no.
We're a worldwide podcast, Tony. Right?
Check it out.
National podcast.
No, listen to me. This is God know my heart. Listen, doesn't matter. I'm trying to make the point that you get to do it your way. You get to be intimate with God about how you do this. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I talk to people. Listen, there is not a drive-through window I won't go up on and bless people. I'm telling you. I ask him. I love to lift people that are in the workforce that feel like they're insignificant. Give me that guy, that girl. I lift people at a register. I lift them. It's just the gift that each person gets to do it their way. How can you give back your talents, your time? Go back to the parable. What did God give you? What would he, if he gave you the 5, what are the 5? You figure that out and have a ball with it. Give it back. Give it away. It's a riot. I'm having a riot right now.
Yeah.
So, and I know you are. You're giving
I'm
it away
living the
your
dream.
way. You really are.
I'm living the dream.
And so is Tony. I mean, Tony will tell you stories of where he gets to bless people in his everyday world, and it's just amazing how we can give back. There's so many ways. I'm a prayer guy in my church. I start the church service off in my church. I'm kind of hit a cajon and do drums for behind my wife playing piano at church. It goes on and on and on. I get to have fun with this, and so does everyone else. But it doesn't have to be a church thing. There's no Sunday school answer. Like you're giving to people.
Well, the answer is you have to be multiplying. That looks
right.
different for everyone.
That's
but
right.
If your life looks the same a year from now, you're lazy and wicked, in my opinion.
Come on, dude. Come on. But what I don't want people to think is you got to go and do the cookie cutter Sunday school thing. No, you'll do it your way. I'd like to see how people are going to do it. You just so happen to be sitting with a microphone on in front of the camera here. That's just one way to do it, and there's just literally millions of ways to do it. And I'd like to hear how people are doing it.
And I think that, it can be
You knocked your thing off.
your little pad, wind filter. But anyway, like for me, I have to be careful with that, and even us that are us that have solo businesses, we have to be careful with that because we have to be able, that is a potential. Someone has a large company, they can make a difference in 50, 100 guys' lives, that work for them, whatever. So I'm not saying that as a solo guy, you can just go out 4 days a week, mow your yard, go back home, and just stay inside your whole life and just do that. I'm not saying that's not a good plan. I believe that if you're a believer, that God has called you to make a difference in possibly thousands of people's lives, right? So if you're not, a little bit of that is kind of built in if you have a big company, but if you're someone like me, well, that means maybe I'm small just in this area of my life, but maybe I still have to branch out and talk to other people, help disciple other people, doing things with my church and obviously doing things with our men's group. And it's been really neat. Like, and even in, I was talking to this young guy last night that's part of our men's group. He wants to be a mechanic. And I love that kind of thing. So I was telling him about some of I knew about like the school they think about going to and stuff. Anyway, yes, some stuff can happen with their customers. I guess a week or two ago, one of my customers, his wife, passed away. And I don't know if he knew like that I was a believer or not, but and I think he is a, devout Catholic. So I've taken care of his property, real nice property, probably a year or 2 years. And I didn't know. Just one day he pulled up and his grandson was driving the car and they pulled up in the driveway. And I thought that was kind of odd because I knew his wife was at the hospital and stuff. And they pulled up and no wife got out. Grandson, driver's side, and he wasn't even driving, and that's not like him. Usually, he's driving his new, SUV, whatever. He was in the passenger side. And then so I get out and I knew his wife was in the hospital. And anyway, I asked how she was and he was like, well, she passed away today. Wow. And like she'd been having like liver problem or different things, and it kind of just all came to a head today, this afternoon. And I was like, wow. And then me and my family went back because my wife makes sourdough bread, so we were passing that out to all the customers. And I knew in my mind, like if I see him, if he's there, I'm gonna pray with this guy. Like I'm gonna lay hands on him and pray with him, and I'm not gonna ask him because he might say no. So I just I went up and how you doing? Show him my kids and stuff, and then I just prayed for him, like, and his wife, and just, that he would experience the Lord's peace and just all this stuff. So he knows now that I'm a believer, but so like there'll be opportunities like that come along the way. And I think part of the talents thing is just try to pay attention on where God will have things that these things will kind of come up on your plate, like I had no idea. I was just there to mow the guy's yard, like these, if we're paying attention to these, opportunities, they'll be there. Even like coming here today, like I had a lot going on in my life right now. Like, I don't know, but I'm like, how am I going to turn down this opportunity? Naylor asked me to come down here and set up my little podcast and stuff. I'm like, but I need to do that because I don't know. It's really cool. And every single week, this whole year, or maybe even before, almost 2 years, but I have like an hour conversation, on mine, talking to someone with a small business, someone maybe someone they're scared to contact you, but they'll contact me, because like I don't know, I don't know, like maybe it's less intimidating, because mine's more of a hobby show or whatever. And so so I get to talk to these guys, and we ask me a million things, about all these different things. And so so it's these little things that I wasn't really expecting, but the Lord will present you these things. And I think growing our talents is just taking the opportunity when it comes to you. Not that we need to take all opportunities, but if we think the Lord needs, wants us to take the opportunity, then I think we should. And so even something like coming today, we never know who will listen to this, and possibly could change their life. So that's the thing. And I hope that I make an impact on someone. Not that I'm I don't care if I'm ever internet famous or anything, but I hope that I can make an impact, on someone and change their eternal future, So that's the thing. That's all.
Amen.
Paul, let me throw this on the table. This is from the guy who wrote Man in the Mirror. We did a study with the group of men, and he makes this point, that your work, your career, is your ministry. Because it's where you give most of your time and your talents, back to the parable. And I agreed with that. I agree 100% with this. We men spend most of our lives giving our life away like Christ did. We came to give our life away. Your work is where you give away most of your life. You're giving your time. I mean, you're doing your absolute best that you can.
That's huge, doing it with excellence.
Yes, you're doing your absolute best. Most men try to do that to the best of their ability. and it's their ministry. It's really, we think, oh, I got to go to church to be a good boy. No, your work is your ministry. It's a way you give back to the culture. It's a way you give your times and your gifts. And a lot of people are going to work. Paul, I'm seeing this everywhere I go. People, I can just tell they feel so insignificant. I talked to the window cleaner at Chick-fil-A today, and this guy,
DeAndre?
DeAndre. And you can tell he's just doing his job, just thinking, and I was like, hey, dude, and I told him this. Your job is your ministry. It's really how God honors. It says work as though unto the Lord. And it's just, so as you guys are building your businesses and using, things like this podcast, just that you're listening to this, you want excellence, you want to grow, you want to be better. That's a form of using that talents. It's a form of being that guy with the 5 talents. And a lot of, again, it's, and this ain't comfortable. I don't like you telling me stuff, but in a way, it's good for me. I need it. I need the sharpening. I need it. You got to get me with the girl with the tax stuff.
Sheila, yeah.
Yeah, so you need it, and we need it. And you guys listening, it's really, you are one of the 5 talents, guys, by saying, I'm going to try to better myself, try to do what is best in my business. And my customers, Tony's better at me at this, but I want my customers to look at me and go, you know what? I trust that guy. That's a real man of integrity. I want that. I know he's not just the guy that puts lines in their yard. And so, but yeah, Tony does a lot. He's in our men's group. Every week he's sharing a story where he's touching somebody's life out there with the lawnmower.
And I think for us that have been in business for a long time, we got to figure out what excites us this year in 2025, because like I can pull up to a lawn, like I've cleaned up this lawn thousands of times, and sometimes they're just not, it's not feeling it the same, that I was, when I first started. And so, but then it goes back to thinking that, that I work for the Lord and I don't work for people. How can I make this yard look better than I did even when the first years when I was starting? Like how do I make it?
That's real.
How do I pay attention to details that maybe I didn't in the past, and just in appreciating the small things, like this year, towards the end of the year, I bought a new enclosed trailer, and I pull all the wood off the walls and like insulated the ceiling and the walls, and like I wired in nice 12-volt lights, and gonna have like a whole charging setup like for my battery equipment and stuff. And that's just something, hey, that excites me, like in the actual real world application, of doing the lawns, this year. And so that's really cool. So that's the other thing I think we got to figure out. Like we got to keep it exciting for us and keep making small changes in our business. I told you there's still a couple properties that I need to cut off, even my church property, which I love the people at church, but it's a 7-acre property, and I got rid of it at the end of the year. So that's, I don't know, a few weeks I've not done it. And that feels weird because that took several hours a week. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm done now.
You did good with that. Tony, you did it.
And yeah, so that, but now I'm able to even condense it more and only have one type of mower, because then I can, these 2 neighborhoods, literally only one mower, where I had this other big 61 Skag sit down, and now I can like really narrow things down, or whatever you call it, niche down, whatever. Yeah. And so, yeah, those are what's going on with me. That's it.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. I'll let you guys get back to Tony's Lawn Care. You guys have a booth here as well, and you're podcasting, and of course you have a YouTube channel, Tony's Lawn Care, over there. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Paul. Good.
Paul's the best in the business, and I thank you for your years ago. Thankfully I ran across a busy street, 4 lanes of traffic, and just knew I had to come talk to you because I seen you had a rally shirt, kind of like that one.
Yeah, it's a white one.
It's a little different back in the day, yeah. But and I'm so glad that I made that connection. And
I was at a gas station, or not a gas station, I was at a car wash, and I was using the vacuum, so I was hunched over in my car, and I just had this feeling, because it's kind of in the hood, so I was kind of feeling like I just felt it. I was like, someone's around the corner, so I was ready to like fight or flight mode, and I turned around, I was like, and there's Tony Rudolph, and I was like, what are you doing here? Because I knew you lived 2.5 hours away, so yeah, that was a memory.
And I just thank you for getting me plugged in, like in podcasting in general stuff. You really gave me a chance, or like had me on, and no one even know who I was,
Yeah, your show's growing.
For whatever reason, well, even just you having me on your podcast, back then, like, I don't know why you give me a chance. I don't know why anybody gives me a chance. I don't even know. Not sure why even I.
Well, you're debt free. You're married to the only woman you've had intimacy with. You have 2 kids that seem like they're pretty well behaved.
They're pretty cool.
Pretty small time I've took care of them. Your business is in one of the nicest places in the world, Lake Oconee. Those houses are just multi-million-dollar houses. You have a lot going on, a lot to be proud of, or not. I don't know, if proud's the right word, but you've done a great job.
Well, yeah, I still have a lot. I still have a lot to go. I feel like I'm like really, I'm still basically just like the guy that just started his business.
And the other reason, and I got to get going because I got to grab Rob here before it's too late.
Yes, do that.
What I like about you and Jason Creel and there's a guy up in Pennsylvania named Johnny Moe is that you found what works for you. You work alone. You got your route density. You got your family life in a good balance, and that's a path to take. Jeremy Talboy, who's I'm interviewing next, he has like $15 million business. And you can see him. He's on the phone. He's just, it's a whole different responsibility when you're managing. That's over $1 million a month.
Yeah.
Now a lot of that goes out in expenses, but it's a whole different
animal. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying one's right or one's wrong. My job is like a host or a waiter at the restaurant. Here's the menu. Here's what Tony does. Here's what Jason Creel does. Here's what Jeremy Talboy does. There's pros and cons of each. You pick the path that God has for you. But that's another reason I have you on the program, because I think your path, I'm not saying it's for everyone, but it works for you. It works for Jason, and people that have figured it out, it works for him. You would be miserable if you were doing what he did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he'd probably want it, he'd probably be miserable doing what you're doing.
Right.
He needs the
Right.
If you ever met Jeremy, he's the guy with the white hat that's kind of straight.
Got it.
But anyway.
Gotcha.
But I want to get this is my only day here.
You gotta hustle.
I'm behind schedule here.
Go get them.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank
Paul,
you.
hey, the parable of the talents, big stuff.
Yeah.
Overnight.
I want to be multiplying. I don't want to be
it's awesome.
wicked and lazy.
I did not see that coming. That what you brought that up. I think it's amazing. Let's go get them.
Let's go multiply.
All right.
Great job.